Tonight on Newsbeat, what if there was no S in LSU? An update on how LSU plans to combat extreme budget cuts.
Also, what's next for LSU's Acacia chapter? We have the latest on the fraternity's fate.
And a university teacher accused of offering sex for better grades to a student. But is it true, or is it just a game of he said, she said? All this and more, Newsbeat starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Michael Edmondson.
And I'm Christian Bennett. LSU President F. King Alexander says the possibility of LSU's campus to shut down for a year is real. Alexander says the budget reduction is so huge that the university would have to furlough everyone for an entire year. LSU is looking for an 82% budget reduction, the largest single budget reduction in the history of American higher education. Worst case scenario, LSU will have to cut course offerings in half next year and cancel about 2,000 classes.
Well, in Texas, a Prairie View A&M University student claims her professor offered her sex in exchange for a better grade. The allegations led to the teacher's dismissal and a looming court battle. Angela Chen reports.
In the beginning.
In the winter of 2013, Lisa Mims was about to fail her computer science class. In her statement to police, she says she met with her professor, 76-year-old J.D. Oliver, several times about her grade. In one meeting, Mims alleges Oliver cornered her and squeezed her breast before saying he would give her an A if she met him at a hotel.
He wasn't going to give me a grade unless I showed up to the hotel and had sex with him.
But Oliver claims he was at the hotel because his carpets were being cleaned at home and needed a place to grade papers. He says he had loaned Mims a textbook and knew the hotel was a close-by place for her to return it. She showed up at Best Western at his invitation, but brought along her boyfriend and 2 other male friends. Mims says when they confronted him, Oliver asked what he could do to make this go away.
He was close to retirement. He wanted to have his last big fling before leaving school.
But Oliver's lawyer says none of this is true.
We think that a jury will, after hearing the evidence, will rule in our client's favor.
After Mims and her friends left, Oliver filed a police report saying he had been robbed of his phone, cash, and credit cards, and that Mims had wanted $9,000 from him. Mims was no billed by a grand jury on this robbery charge. Since then, the university has conducted its own investigation, found Mims' allegations substantiated, and fired Oliver. Oliver did appeal his dismissal.
This has been a burden on him, not only on him, but his wife. And you can imagine the toll that's taken on his health.
Mims' lawyer says the school opened a criminal investigation on Oliver for abuse of his public position, but the school refused to comment on anything surrounding pending litigation.
Oliver's lawyers say they filed a sealed lawsuit against Mims, meaning details cannot be revealed due to sensitive nature. Mims' lawyers say they have not yet served.
Louisiana's film tax credit may be producing thousands of jobs, but it's at a steep cost to the state treasury. According to a new study, the tax breaks for the state economic development department, Louisiana paid more than $14,000 per job, spending $222 million in film tax credits in 2014, getting back only $51 million for the state treasury. That means the return was about 23 cents on the dollar. Due to the $1.6 billion shortfall in the state budget, lawmakers are eyeing the program for changes.
The Student Activities Board at LSU will host a silent disco tonight. Silent disco is a dance party in which participants decide what music to play while wearing their own headphones, given the effect of dancing to silence. Admission is free for LSU students, and the event will run from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. The event will take place in Parker Coliseum due to rain.
When we come back, why you should be wary of what time you buy ice cream.
Also, how one LSU student is taking the fashion industry by storm.
And how you can give back to the community simply by drinking your favorite soda. Stay tuned.
Operated by Bluebell Ice Cream has been linked to the outbreak of listeria that has killed 3 people. Bluebell spokesman Gene Grabowski said that a contaminated 3-ounce cup of ice cream was traced to a plant in Oklahoma Tuesday. The recall began after 5 patients at a hospital in Kansas became ill with listeria. 4 reported drinking milkshakes with Bluebell ice cream, and 3 of those patients are now dead. The contaminated cup was found at the hospital, and Louisiana is among 23 other states that the cups were distributed to.
LSU students are getting hands-on experience in the fashion world this week. NOLA Fashion Week, presented by the NOLA Fashion Council, provides Southern-based designers a platform to gain exposure, increase sales, and make professional contacts. This season, senior fashion designer Major Ashley Andrews is preparing for her first appearance in NOLA Fashion Week. She is the youngest designer this year, hoping to gain recognition for her line. Andrews is showcasing her line called Blackbird.
I'm transitioning to a different phase of my life, and so I thought about the idea of like a bird losing its feathers and transitioning between life and death. So most of the pieces are all black and gold, the exception of my grand finale, which is a secret.
Fashion Week kicked off this Wednesday and will continue throughout the weekend. And the LSU Panhellenic community is asking individuals to collect aluminum can pull tabs. These pull tabs, or can tops, will be recycled in exchange for cash. This cash is being donated to a 5th grade girl at Mercy School in Baton Rouge who has a rare form of cancer. 1 gallon of pull tabs pays for 1 cancer treatment.
Get a soda, or if you're at a party, you can just go around and ask people if you can have their little pull tabs. And I know it seems kind of awkward at first, but...
In breaking news, the Acacia National Fraternity released a statement saying the fraternity is being removed from LSU's campus due to hazing rituals. A former Acacia pledge spoke to us yesterday about the hazing.
We were locked in a room. We had to smoke 47 packs of cigarettes between all of us. Some people had to get big lips of dip, and a few people, had to consume so much tobacco or nicotine that they got sick. They probably got nicotine poisoning and were in the bathroom throwing up.
When we come back, Kristen Bertel lets us know if we can keep expecting these wet conditions this weekend.
Also, how an Afghan woman was beaten to death over a religious accusation, and could the German Wings flight have been crashed on purpose? Stay tuned. Sarah Loftus here with your weather report next.
Hey Tigers, I'm Sarah Loftus with your World News Report. 150 people are dead after German Wings Flight 9525 crashed in the French Alps. Information was released today that the co-pilot put the plane in descent, which can only be done deliberately. The co-pilot started the descent when the pilot was out of the cockpit. According to the aviation data website, the autopilot was programmed to change altitude from 38,000 to 100 feet. Authorities discovered through an audio tape that the pilot tried to get back in by banging on the door, but the co-pilot wouldn't open it. The French government has asked the FBI to help investigate the crash. And you might be seeing more of the Amanda Knox case. Knox's defense lawyer urged Italy's highest court yesterday to overturn Knox's conviction in the 2007 murder case of her British roommate. Knox is currently facing 28.5 years in Italian jail. Knox's defense attorney is making the argument that the Florence court's decision of Knox is not justice, but a distortion of facts. The defense will make its case on Friday. An Afghan tradition was broken this week when women carried a coffin high on their shoulders in the Afghan capital. A mob of male attackers kicked a 27-year-old woman before tossing her off a bridge, setting her body on fire and throwing it in the river. The motive for the attack was an accusation that the woman burned pages of the Holy Book. Early reports described the woman as being mentally ill, but her father said she was a religious teacher who taught the Quran to children and who in no way burned pages of it. Jeremy Clarkson won't have his contract renewed as the host of Top Gear after he apparently busted his producer's lip and verbally abused him. Top Gear is one of the most watched television shows in the world. An online petition to have Clarkson reinstated has been signed by over 1 million people, and fewer than 10,000 people have signed a counter petition. NASA's Opportunity rover reaches success after clocking in 26.219 miles. This is the first time any human enterprise has exceeded the distance of a marathon on the surface of another world. It took the robot 11 years and 2 months, but it definitely represents a significant landmark for NASA. Well, that's all I have for you today. Join me next week for your World News Update. Now over to Kristen Bertel for the weekend weather.
Welcome to the weekend weather update. The gloomy weather we've had throughout the day is going to clear up tonight, but there's still going to be a 20% chance of rain. Temperature's going to stay around 45 degrees, and wind speeds will start picking up at 15 miles per hour. For Friday, there's going to be a 0% chance of rain, and temperatures are going to be around 70 degrees. Sun's going to be out all day, so if you like to hang out outside between classes, tomorrow's going to be the day to do it. Saturday's weather is going to be pretty similar to Friday's. You can expect to see some sunny skies, and temperatures will be around 79 degrees. Also, UV index is going to be pretty high that day, so if you're planning on laying out this Saturday, you might want to wear some sunscreen. Well, that's all the weather I have for you for now. Keep watching, see just how hot it's going to get later on this week. Now, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Chris. When we come back, LSU softball and baseball are #1 in the nation. But what are the chances of staying on top? Cody Krupp has your sports update next.
Stay tuned.
Hey, don't say a word. Look natural. I got this.
Well, hey, Coach.
Well, hey, Roscoe.
It's Tony.
Same thing. He was driving.
Coach, you really got to get over this Dukes thing.
Hey, same time tomorrow, Roscoe?
It's Tony.
The Dukes are back at the Cajun Country Jam 4th of July Living.
Let's hope for LSU's sake that the performance on the field this weekend in Alex Box will be a little bit better than we just saw. Just kidding, Coach, but hello everyone and welcome into sports. From the big screen to the diamond, and if recent performance is any indication, Coach Paul Mainieri picked the right career path. His LSU baseball team is red hot with not only wins in 22 of 25 to start the season, but on the stat sheets. Just how good is this LSU ball club? A combined .332 batting average leads the entire nation and has many wondering how this team even lost 3 games. Teams are lucky to get a .400 average player this far into the season, once in a great number of years, but at this point, 2 Tigers through 25 games on that blistering place at the plate. Both over .400 averages, Cade Civic and Andrew Stevenson look to continue their record numbers, outslugging their opponents by 110 points on an average of a 4-run difference per game. Those numbers could decrease slightly as they hit the meat of the SEC schedule, but who knows with a team that just put up 16 on the Razorbacks and 18 on the Rebels. But for Mainieri, there is still room to grow.
I told him that one of the things that I do think we need to improve upon is in-game adjustments when we see what pitchers are doing to our hitters. And so periodically during the course of games, I want him to group the hitters together to evaluate and analyze what the pitchers are doing to help our hitters have a better game plan when they go up to hit. I think knowledge is power, and the more they know about what the pitcher's trying to do to them, the better prepared they are when they step in there.
John Calipari's squad is a spotless 36-0 this season with his Wildcats, but for head coach Beth Torina, she might have to be asking, is this town big enough for the both of us? Because move over, Lexington, another impressive record is coming to the Bluegrass State. #1 LSU softball and their 34-1 record traveled to take on Kentucky with performance on pace to set the all-time record met by the 1992 UCLA team with 54-2. Bianca Bell is chasing a record nearly 20 years in the books, as her .554 average is not far off from rewriting the record books. Savannah Dwakelich leads the Tigers with 13 home runs for the Lady Tigers, but they are not looking ahead past this one.
I don't think that we feel pressure to defend a ranking. I mean, it doesn't matter who's ranked #1 right now. It matters who's ranked #1 on June 1st.
You know, we have our work cut out for us without question with Kentucky. They do such a great job of preparing for their opponents. They're coming off being swept. I think that's a bad spot to be in for us because I think they typically respond really well to that in their history, but they're a great team. They're well coached. They will be well prepared. So, you know, we're going to have our work cut out for us.
First pitch at John Kropp Stadium in Lexington is scheduled for 5 p.m. tomorrow. A perfect 7-0 conference record, the first time in school history for Dee Bro, so it only seems fair to give her the 7th SEC Coach of the Year award in her career, along with an SEC Specialist of the Year award going to a 4-time SEC champ. Dee Bro shared the Coach of the Year honors with Auburn's Jeff Graba after records in nearly every category, including a new overall team record. But it was Lamencia Hall who can say she played a big part of that, collecting the 2nd annual SEC Specialist Award after a nation's #1 performance on the floor. Her 4th SEC title last week makes her only the 2nd gymnast in conference history to win 4 titles in the same event. She added 2 perfect scores along the way to make her the only high-flying gymnast to do that this season in the country. Her 31 4 titles in her career leaves her #1 in LSU history. They return to action in Ames, Iowa on April 4th for the NCAA Regionals. Winner of the Junior PGA Championship came with a nice trophy and a little paycheck for an LSU golf commit, Sam Burns, but that victory is still paying off in a big way as the junior status becomes the land of the big boys today. 18-year-old Shreveport native and future Tiger Sam Burns will take part this weekend in the Valero Texas Open in San Antonio, who earned his spot in 2014 junior title that included past winners of the likes of Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. Burns is ranked the #9 amateur in the world and a #1 junior golfer. He is the reigning Rolex Junior Player of the Year and also earned a spot in the FedEx St. Jude Classic later this year. LSU beefed up its non-conference schedule a bit for the next 2 years after signing a deal with Wake Forest Demons for a home-and-home series beginning next season in Baton Rouge, with a trip to Winston-Salem, North Carolina planned for the 16-17 season. Wake Forest is a member of the ACC and finished 13-9 overall and a 5-9 conference play record. Tomorrow, young men will get their last chance to make their dream become reality of becoming a professional football player when they prove themselves in front of scouts all over the world at the Charles McClendon practice facility. The SEC Network will be on hand beginning their coverage at noon as head coaches and GMs from around the league are hoping to find their missing piece. The field will not be as loaded as last season with the likes of Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and Zach Mettenberger, but they took the stage this year. Will include projected first-round offensive lineman Lyle Collins, as well as a host of other Tigers looking to put their foot in the door, such as running backs Kenny Hilliard, Terrence McGee, and the other side with Daniil Hunter and Orozco. One last fun note as we wrap up today's sports, LSU takes the inaugural Helmet Madness crown as fans voted in the best college football helmet for CBSSports.com. That is all the time we have today for sports, but more Newsbeat is coming your way. Well, maybe a little Christian Berto later on, too. We'll see. We'll see you guys later.
Welcome back to the weather. So today the weather was mostly overcast and a little rainy, but don't worry, it won't be like that for too long. By Friday and Saturday, the sun will be back out, and you can plan for a 0% chance of rain. It's not going to be as sunny when we get back to Sunday, but you can expect it to be partly cloudy with a 10% chance of rain. And it looks like you'll need all your rain gear starting off next week, because when we get back Monday, you can expect some scattered thunderstorms, and those thunderstorms look like they're going to last through Wednesday. But you can see that the temperature will start rising by starting Sunday, and we're going to start moving away from that warm, breezy weather we've been having, and into some hotter and more humid weather when the temperatures rise into the low 80s. That's all the weather that I have for you today. Thanks for watching.
When we come back, we'll show you one driver's creative way to avoid the traffic.
Stay tuned.
Beep, beep.
He doesn't always break the law, but when he does, it's to get around HOV lane restrictions. Police say a driver put a cardboard cutout of the popular Dos Equis Most Interesting Man in his passenger seat so that he could use the high occupancy vehicle lane around Tacoma, Washington. Not so fast, though. The stunt got him pulled over, and he now faces a $124 ticket. The World's Most Interesting Man has been a hugely successful campaign for Dos Equis beer. The ad features actor Jonathan Goldman and is now at the center of many parodies across social media. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but you can stay updated with Tiger TV Newsbeat on tigertv.tv.
From all of us here at Newsbeat, good night. Stay tuned. The Funnion is up next.